Hello. How are ya?
Hi. I'm good.
I good?
Ready?
Sure. No.
Hello friends, Bill Baker, host of the Sunbury Real Estate Show, right here on 103.5 FM, the Sun, every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Hey, when I'm not on the radio, I hope to be folks just like you can find some homes. I'm proud to say the 19 the Baker Realtor has been helping people buy and sell homes in the greater Sunbury area for over 20 years. Information about buying and selling a home is available on my website, bakerrealtygroup.com. Searching the Baker Realty Group or by calling 608-575-6731. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the Sunbury Real Estate Show.
Welcome to the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show with your host, Bill Baker.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sun Prairie Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Bill Baker, and glad to be here with you. I hope you're having a great Wednesday as I turn down the volume on everything. Sun Prairie Real Estate Show. I'm your host, Bill Baker. Oh, there we go. Now she's down. Now we can hear what's going on. Hey, we created this show about 9 years ago to help you, to educate and inform you on how to buy, sell, and invest in real estate. And what I want to say thank you to all the people that have helped develop the show, and that means you as the consumers, as the public, because you're always out there giving us ideas and suggestions, and we really, really appreciate it. You're listening to 103.5 WLSP, The Sun, right here in beautiful Sun Prairie. We're part of the family of stations at the Sun Prairie Media Station. We're underwritten by those wonderful folks at the Bank of Sun Prairie, the Baker Realty Group, and of course, Wintrust Mortgage. Now, as I love to say, this show would not be what it is if we didn't have the likes, the input, the stuff that she brings every show.
The likes of Laura.
There you go. The likes of Laura.
Yeah.
That's Laura Stanfield from Wintrust Mortgage. Good morning.
Good morning.
Glad you're here.
Yeah.
How you be?
Good.
Well, tell us what in the world's going on in the world of mortgages.
Maybe some good news.
Oh, talk
for
to me.
Rates.
Tell me.
Maybe.
Tell me.
Maybe.
Tell me.
We got some good inflation numbers. Not quite to the 2% yet.
No.
That they're looking for, but closer. And so thought that we probably will see the Fed lower the federal funds rate, and that was a really positive impact on mortgage rates. So they've come down a bit.
Cool.
That's good. Hopefully we see them come down a little bit more.
Awesome.
It would be really wonderful.
Where are we at?
I'd say mid-sixes. And I
Mid-sixes?
say that, right, because some are lower and some could be higher, and it depends on the program and your credit score and your down payment or loan to value. All those things play into it. Property type,
Thank you.
condo,
Thank you for doing all
multi-unit, single family, all the stuff.
All
So
the stuff.
yeah, all
Thank you for
things.
dropping those rates. We appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'll say mid-sixes. But like we got as high as 7, 8. We got as high as 8.
Wow.
And then it came down into the
Wow.
7 range.
Yeah.
And then we got below, last week I think we were just below. So we keep going down, which is the direction that we want to be.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, right now, if you look at homes, what's truly active out there, we've got 53 homes on the market. 13 of those are new construction. 40 are existing homes. And so we are having an uptick in inventory, and which is a plus, folks. But when you get there and you're looking at different things, just still be aware that the market is a little tight. And what's happening now is that demand, people are just coming out and going, want to go see a house. Let's go see a house. And so,
Well, what do you think is causing, because there are more homes on the market now. It's kind of nice to drive around and see signs in yards, like,
yeah,
yay.
I know.
It's really cool to
And it's
see
taking
that.
longer.
Yeah.
And it's
Which is
taking
good
a
for
while.
buyers.
Well, I think part of it is our show. Well, no.
Yeah,
I mean,
really?
Well, I mean
Woo.
a little bit of that because we are helping create urgency, or the dash to 17.
The dash
August
to 17.
dash to 17.
Is this the thing now?
Yeah, it is. That's
Okay.
created. Just made it
Okay,
up.
look at that.
Because there is a dash to August 17th when the rules change,
Yeah.
and when they change, you got to be ready for them. And don't be afraid of them. You're going to just have to embrace them and get used to them. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk a lot about that in the way of a seller, buyer. Also, really important is the lender side of this because of what's going to happen with incentives and how those are handled. But so that's really what we're talking about. We're trying to get you prepped and ready to go for August 17th. But there's things you need to do before then. I want to tell you real quick, I want to put a huge plug in for Sherry Singery that's going to be on here next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Sherry's a dear friend of ours, we love her to death. She's a Wisconsin and a Florida broker. She's a part of the EXP group, same as I am. And she has just a vast background of even new construction and sales and resales, wealth of information, TikTok extraordinaire person, and she's going to talk to us about the Florida market, which has seen just this boom of listings and inventory come on, and how they're how she sees that market. And she'll probably break it down into luxury, non-luxury, and in the Naples, Fort Myers, and that area. So it's going to be a great show. Why are we doing that show? Why is that important for you? Well, the reason being is if you're in those years where you're thinking about a home down south, someplace warm for the wintertime, here's your opportunity to maybe grab a deal or to learn more about the market that you're about to enter into, and it might save you a few $1,000s. So, and aggravation, I think. But
Well, we're hearing a lot about California and Florida in particular, right? That
Oh,
the
yeah.
markets there, and it does happen that way, that normally it happens on the coast, and I
Uh-huh.
would say south and west more so. Bill has a drinking problem, but we'll work on that. That's a whole
Oh.
other thing. So normally the changes happen on the coast and they move. Well, it's already, well, no. That's kind of impressive, though. It seems like it's drying quickly.
It's called
Anyway.
Wick Away.
So anyway, back to real estate. Yeah, it kind of moves in, right, from
Right.
the coast. And we've been hearing that that's been happening in Florida and California, that
Sure.
it was already switching to a buyer's market months ago.
Yeah, it
And
hasn't
now-
switched all the way to a buyer's market.
Not
yet.
completely,
No.
switching to, going
Yeah.
that direction.
We'll see.
Houses sitting and more homes coming on the market.
We'll see. The demand, as your rates drop, that demand is just going to be off the chart. It's going to take
Yeah.
an acceleration rate. People are going to finally come in and go, "Hey, let's go buy a house." And
Are these people from the south?
They are from North Carolina.
All right.
North Carolina. They're down there with Gomer.
All right now.
You know, Andy Griffith. All that speak.
Or
But
inside.
it's true though. I mean, that's what's happening out there is that people are adjusting to the market, and as those rates come down, people are going, okay, now I'm a little bit more comfortable. I'll get a 6% mortgage, 6.5% mortgage. Instead, I know I'll never get a 3 or 2 anymore, but I'm not going to get an 8% mortgage. So, and they can still buy today and then refinance.
Absolutely.
Marry the house, date the rates.
That's
we've
the
been
thing.
calling that, but,
That's the phrase.
Here's some
Yeah.
things I want you to know, though, about our current market, and then we're going to get into this a little bit. Is what I wanted to know was about July and how we're doing in July already, since it's the 17th day of July.
Oh my gosh, it is.
17th, my
Summer's
God.
half over, people.
I
Hope
know.
you're enjoying
We
it.
need to hear about Journey and Death Leopard.
Deaf? Not death.
Death.
Deaf.
Death.
DEF, leopard, yeah. And Steve Miller Band, by the way. Yeah, it was so hot, but so good anyway.
Show was hot or temperature was hot?
Both.
You didn't take me with you.
Oh my god, it was so fun. Anyway,
I would have gone with the girls. Okay, I would have fit in.
we had a blast.
Oh my god. Okay, so let's talk about the local information. Why am I giving you July numbers on the 17th of July, because you need, if you're in the process or getting ready to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, you need to be in the market and not on the market or about the market. And what I mean by that is this. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
So right now, there have been 19 sales, solds in the month of July compared to 15 last year. That's up 26%.
Mid-month last year?
Mid-month, same time frame.
Okay.
And there's a 4.6% price increase. The average price right now is $474,949. $474,949 was $453.
But there is new construction in there, right? Which is driving that up a bit.
Could be. Yep, could be. I did not break it out that way. Here's what I want you to know, though, about these numbers in July. First of all, 19 homes sold. 4 of them had cash deals.
Oh, wow.
1 had a VA deal.
Yay.
And the 14 had 74% were conventional financing.
Common.
Yeah, so it means there's going to be some contingencies in there. So that finance contingency, appraisal contingency,
inspection.
most likely, possibly inspection in there. So that's what's going on. Here's the thing you really need to be aware of if you're buying a house, is that this year, 58% of those deals had competing offers. So almost 60% had competing offers compared to 27% last year. How about that?
That surprises me.
I know. Well, July is usually a down month.
Yeah.
And then August is a down month. And it's not that there's not sales, it's that summer transition.
It's summer and preschool.
Right.
Like summer getaways and sneaking things in before school starts.
Yep. And average days on market is 13 days right now.
Okay.
13 days.
Okay.
Which,
not 13 hours.
no, 13
days.
Right.
Yeah.
So of the homes that are out there, we're talking about what's actively available right now. 53 homes listed, 13 are new construction. Of the overall homes, all of them together that are currently available, they say they're currently available, but I'm going to prove to you that they're not. Well, actually I'm not, because the internet went down and I was all kitty walkers.
The internet went down.
Oh, you know, Spectrum, TS, they have no reliability at all. It just kills me. But 53 homes listed. The median listing price is $533,000. The average is $557,000 and some change. New construction. The median price is $624,900. Average price for new construction that's currently available is $740,276. Those numbers are huge.
They are huge. And I wouldn't, so some people are not scared at all by those numbers. Some people might be. If you are, you know how numbers work, right? And averages. So you could have a lot of higher end homes factoring in at the moment, which is causing that number to go up.
That's why I gave you the median.
Yeah.
The median is the middle. That's all really what it's.
How many people do you think know the mean, the median, and the...
Well, not the mean.
No, like the differences between the two.
Yeah.
3.
Few.
Actually, there's 3 confusing terms in there.
What?
Anywho.
So what are...
The mean, the median, and the middle.
Well, define the mean.
The...
Mean doesn't come into this.
No, those are like common terms though. Like when people get confused about numbers and the spread, right? So if you're taking an average between the high and the low.
Or average.
Or the median.
But not the mean.
Well, the mean comes into play with those numbers.
Define mean.
Are we getting into Econ 101?
Well, it's not Econ.
It's not Econ.
It's statistics.
Well, okay. Are we getting into that? Not really. Not really. My point being, people don't get worried about these higher numbers because we keep hearing about affordability, right? And I can't, oh my God, the median, whatever term you want to use, is in the mid-4s. Well, it is. It really is. Like a first-time home buyer range is now, what, between $350 and $450? $350 on the low end, and good luck finding first-time home buyer. Good luck finding something that doesn't need a lot of work in that range. In Dane County, you can go outside and find more in that price range. But my point was, I don't want people to get freaked out by the numbers that you're giving, because everybody knows house prices keep going up, but it doesn't mean that you have to pay $600,000 to
No.
get a house. It's
No.
all about whatever numbers are available right now.
In my neighborhood, there are 5 houses being built. Right around the corner from where I live. 5 houses.
Where? In that open field?
No, not open field. They better not.
Nothing is supposed to be
Go
built over
up
there,
the
right
street,
across
take
you.
a left, and you go back where it's on to Stonehaven. So North End or whatever that is. There's 2 houses being built there, one across the street from each other, and then there's bam, 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 3 in a row.
Gosh, when I drive over there, I feel like it's already kind of built, other than that open space
Sure.
across from you.
One of the
I can't
questions.
think where that is.
One of the questions on Facebook was about connecting Stonehaven, because Stonehaven stops in both directions, and you got to come around. And the question was, when is the city going to complete Stonehaven? And the answer is never.
Well, at some point you'll run out of land, will you not?
They're not connecting Stonehaven. They'll never do it.
So Stonehaven is on both sides of Bird? Over by I think
Yep.
of it as like
Stonehaven's
Stone.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the
North?
others. Yeah. What side is
north?
that? I don't know.
North.
The other side of Buck and Honey's, how about that? On that side of Bird, that's what I think of when I think of Stonehaven, but it's actually also right over by Buck and Honey's, right?
It's
Where
over
the
by
gas
Buck and
station
Honey,
is.
so you keep going down. As you cross Bird, keep going down, it will dead end.
Is yours considered Stonehaven?
I live on Continental Way, but my house is located on Patriot Way.
Yeah. But like you're in a different subdivision than what most people consider to be. I
No.
mean, Stonehaven is Stonehaven, yes. But
Yes.
like, and you're a couple streets off of that.
I'm in the Liberty neighborhood,
Yeah.
basically. But what happens is over on Broadway, Stonehaven ends also. So Broadway and North End, I guess, North Street, whatever, they end. So here's the thing is, the reason I can
Oh,
tell
wow,
you,
yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
So the reason why the city will never finish it is because they never finish a road.
They never finish a road?
No,
What does that mean?
the developer does.
Oh, I see.
The city wants the developer to incur the cost instead of the city incurring the cost. So what that means is you as the consumer
Are paying for
are
it.
paying for that cost.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about like Robert Proctor when he comes in and gives his breakdown
Oh
of
yeah.
land acquisition, development costs,
Yeah.
sewer, water, roads. Who pays for all that? Guess what?
Oh yeah.
You do.
The housing committee, I'm working with Becky Benz and Terry Van Tassel from Bank of Sun Prairie, and we're putting together a video about the importance of home ownership and why it needs to be done. And
Why what needs to be done?
more houses need to be built than that.
Yeah.
Because we have people that want to buy houses and they can't buy them, they can't
Oh, yeah.
afford them.
Yeah.
And so
As long as there's land, and we've got some land in Sun Prairie.
Sure.
But
Sure.
what about areas where there isn't land?
Well, yeah, but this is Sun Prairie, so
Stop with the apartments.
no, we need apartments.
We don't need more. Okay, that's a whole other thing.
Okay.
No, we don't.
Well, we can talk about that another day. That'll be fun. But anyway, so we're talking about this and and Becky Benz, economics degree. She's our housing manager here in
She's
Sun
been here a
Prairie.
couple times,
She has.
right?
She's awesome. Love her to death.
She is.
And we're talking about we need to have housing that is more affordable. And I said, well, how are you going to do that?
Condos.
How do we do that? How do we get municipalities to do that?
Oh my God, this has been a conversation for
Right,
how long?
right.
Good Lord.
And I said, and I'm talking with the 3 of us are talking. I said, do you realize that if this was out there and available, that we and make sure I had the button pushed. It
I thought maybe there was a mouse or something over there.
could have been a big snake. I would have handed it to.
Ugh, anyway.
If there were an answer to housing, then we'd already be doing it, and there isn't an answer right now.
And this is nationwide.
Nationwide,
so
absolutely.
We're not just looking at what do we need to do in Sun Prairie or Madison
Yeah.
or like if we're smart, we're looking at comparable areas around the country and what have they done
Right.
to overcome
Right.
this issue.
You know, my thing even with housing right now is I think politicians should stay away from it. If they're leading with housing, that's a mistake. Tell me what you're going to do for me. Because you can't fix the housing problem. You can't. It's impossible. You can't spend your way out of this housing problem. Think about it.
Well, in part,
You know?
development costs things that municipalities can do to lower costs for developers to encourage them to come in and do this,
How
and
do you
therefore,
how do you lower those costs? Which cost are you willing to give up? Or which item? Roads being cleared? Sewer?
where can we get money to offset those costs?
Well, that would be the
That's coming
taxpayer.
from the government, yeah.
Which comes from us.
It does.
The consumer.
Well, it does, right? It's allocation of funds, and we
Yeah.
know very little about the true allocation of funds.
What do you mean?
Government down, top down.
Trickle
Where does
down?
our money go? Ronald Reagan.
Hey,
Dixon, Illinois, by the way.
I know.
Greatness came out of my little town, my hometown.
I know. But, you know,
Well, depending on how you look at it, not everybody's a Reagan fan.
the
Trickle
majority
down
folks were
economics.
Reagan fans, by the way. They liked
He was
that
very
guy.
popular. He
Yeah, I
won
like
in a
him.
landslide. I'll
Hey,
never
and
forget
he
that.
did get shot.
He did.
I mean, and we're glad he didn't. That he survived.
Well, however you feel about Trump, I hope that we're glad that he survived.
Yeah, I am.
We don't want people dead. That's not the
No,
kind of country we
no.
want to live in.
We're getting on politics here for a second.
You brought it up.
I did, but I'm sorry. Yeah, we just all need to get united.
Back to development
Back
costs.
so development
What
costs.
offset
We can
those?
reduce development costs, but we have to be careful what we ask for, because every time you cut, you
You're
lose
cutting
something.
something else.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So.
Yeah, but I
so
gotta
that's a
believe
cons-
there's ways.
So that's the concern with politicians that are leading with housing. Tell me about what else you're going to do for me. Help me is make it easier for me to get daycare or
Make my grocery bill come down.
Well, good luck with that too.
Make
right?
every single thing more affordable, because
Right.
every single thing seems to be insane.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of insane, we keep talking about August 17th. And August 17th is going to change the real estate world. It's going to change your world when you buy or sell real estate. And what is occurring is that there's going to be a lot of things that are not offered anymore. And partly of that is the commission side to buyer agents. It won't be clearly offered. It's not going to be posted like it is today on the multiple listing service. Actually, the multiple listing service was created exactly for that. It was the offer of compensation for a buyer agent to bring a buyer to a certain property as an incentive, basically.
That was the reason the multiple listing
Yeah.
service was created.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't to save money on print costs for
No.
those giant books that
Oh,
you
yeah.
used to thumb through. No,
Did you ever use those?
my mom did.
Yeah, I didn't. I remember buying a house through one though. When I came here in 1990, we didn't have the internet,
No.
so we flipped through books.
Yeah.
And
And how did I don't remember how realtors, because that had to have become outdated the minute it was printed, depending on the market. But in that time,
Right.
houses were absolutely sitting for a long time. But like, what'd you do? Like, mark through it, Sharpie, gone, sold. How did you?
They took, Wilma New Paul was my realtor.
Man, yeah.
And what a sweet lady. Absolutely a class act lady. Loved her to death. She would take a page out of the book. She'd open it. I mean, this thing was 3 or 4
It
inches
was
thick,
big,
man.
yeah.
And
A catalog.
yeah, and I don't even know how they got the pages because I wasn't in real estate back then. I didn't get in until 2006. She took it out. She mimeographed it. I guess. I think we had copiers back then.
I think it was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
copy.
Yeah, it was a
That's
copier.
funny.
She'd give us a copy, and then she'd copy all the ones we're gonna go see, and then she'd put those pages back in the book.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. And then we kept the copies that we had, and then we'd go out and look at houses.
Yeah, I mean, I remember folders, and every client she had a different folder, and she must have done that too. Photocopied. I don't think mimeographed anything.
I don't know.
Did she photocopy?
Sounded fun just to say that.
That's super funny. And when I hear mimeograph, I think of microfiche for some reason, and then I'm like, God, you're really dating yourself. Anywho, so she had like folders for people about like, I think pages she must have copied out of there. Yeah, wow. But like lots of paper back then. Woo!
With offers written with carbon paper.
Oh yeah. I've heard you say press hard before. Nobody even knows
Sign
what
here,
that
press
means
hard.
anymore. Yeah.
Hilarious. Oh my
And
God.
actually typing out contracts,
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, yeah. I did that in college too, but that's
Wow.
different
I
thing.
know. So what's happening out there is there's always been a buyer agent, there's always been a selling agent. There's always been a buyer agency contract, there's always been a seller contract. And so what's happening now, and back then also, on the MLS, it would show you the compensation offered by the selling broker to the buyer agent broker. It's always broker to broker.
Yeah.
And that number came from the seller. So it was like an incentive, but the actual percentage offered to the buyer agency in Wisconsin was decided between the seller and the selling broker. Now that's as clear as mud, I'm sure. I've confused a lot of people, and that's okay. So what's about to happen is right until August 17th, that stays the same. That's the norm. That's the usual. That's what people are used to working with every day. August 17th is going to change because all that information is going to be taken off the MLS, and there will not be an offer of compensation to the buyer agent. There will be an offer of compensation to the buyer, if there is one.
If there is.
If there is one.
Yeah.
And part of this is before you go see a house, you now have to sign an agreement. Not sure if it has to be a buyer agency agreement or a showing agreement. We're not actually sure what the terms of that have to be. Is there compensation in there? Are you going to have to pay to see a house? We don't know that answer yet.
Pay to see a house?
Wow. Yeah. Well, what if there was, say, $50 per house?
Going to your realtor.
Going to the realtor, and you're. I'm just saying.
Do you take credit cards?
Oh, I've
Do
got
you
it
have
on-
a square?
I keep it on my utility belt.
Do you?
My Batman utility belt.
Do you? Oh my God. You're going to have to pay a credit card processing fee, just so you know.
I know.
So you might want to add a couple dollars.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
I can't. I hate when people say yes, and
If
we're
you
gonna
pay
have
cash.
we're going to have to charge you an extra $2 for that processing fee.
Mhm.
Hell to the
It
no.
used to be the cost of doing business, right?
Hell
But it's
to the
not
no.
anymore.
I will walk out of a business.
Guess you don't want the stuff very badly. It's
I don't.
fine.
I-
All choices.
No, they just don't want to do business with me, Ray.
That's not true. It's a true cost for them.
That's the cost of doing business.
Okay.
Should I charge them for the insurance I have on every product?
We could. Lots of things could change in light of this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to charge you my gas, my time, my expertise, my knowledge
Yeah.
as a 20-year. Anyway.
Exactly. That's exactly right. It could
Cool.
happen that way.
Mhm.
And people, they're not looking at it that way.
Mm.
They're looking at it that there was collusion and that we were price fixing with commissions, and it's not true.
The market always determines the price of a home.
The market always, right, correct. And commissions have always been negotiable, and all the documents say that.
In Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Especially Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I don't care about other states. But
Michigan?
I don't remember.
Is
to
she
be honest.
licensed in Michigan?
I am. Actually, it's expired now.
Oh,
I'm not going to sell this in Michigan.
probably not.
I sold 2 when I was over there.
Okay.
That was it. But the thing is that what you need to be aware of is you're going to sign a buyer agency agreement, and you could be responsible for the fee that is charged by that buyer agent.
Yep.
And part of the struggle of this added cost that the Department of Justice was so willing to thrust upon you buyers is that how are you going to pay for it? Because most new first-time home buyers, they're trying to dig the pennies out of the couch at home to put a down payment down. Now
Good luck with the pennies.
now you're going to have, it could be a $9,000, $10,000 buyer agency fee or something like that. How are you going to pay it? Well, are we going to finance that? Are the lenders going to, the VA, FHA, WIDA, are they going to allow a commission to be added on into that financing?
It sounds like it.
Well, how does that work?
Well, so the way that it's worked in the past is that you had to word the contract properly. So if the seller was going to give money to a buyer, any kind of money, it had to be for specific purposes, for closing cost and what we call prepaid items,
Correct.
which could be like your first year of homeowners insurance could be tossed
Right.
in there, your interest that's due for the rest of the month you close in, things like that. But it had to be really specific. And there's thought processes behind that, like realtors are not supposed to contribute commissions or funds toward a purchase because you're an interested party. You stand to benefit from the deal closing.
Oh, really?
Like,
Okay,
and
yeah.
lenders can't throw money in either. We can in the form of interest rate reductions. Sometimes we can do that. But you can't just throw money around,
Okay.
especially if you're deemed an interested party, because that's
Okay.
where the collusion thing comes into play. Well, what are you doing? You're paying to make things happen. I'm not saying I make the rules. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I get to explain them as best as I can.
Okay.
So in the past, the seller couldn't contribute any money like toward a buyer being able to buy the home other than through closing costs and prepaid items. Now, in light of this, the agencies have come together and said, yeah, how's a buyer going to pay thousands of dollars if the seller will not pay?
Right.
So it is possible then that commission, the buyer's agent's commission, could be factored in as a concession. But in the end, they're going to finance it, right? So
Right.
the whole reason for this happening is what's frustrating to me, that they thought that buyers were paying more than they should. Sellers really
Right,
were
sellers.
paying more.
Yeah.
But buyers were,
Right.
because they were paying the inflated cost in theory. Seller put in the commissions on top of whatever they thought was, this is the thought
The
process.
value,
Again,
right.
I'm not saying,
No. You're exactly right, though.
they were putting in the commission on top of what they thought was a fair market, price. But in the end, the buyer's the one that pays the price.
Yeah.
And the market's the thing that determines the price the buyer's going to pay. It's competition, right?
Yeah.
That's the market that we've been in. So anyway, in the end, this comes to pass and the buyer's going to end up financing it in a lot of cases. So it's going to cost the buyer more money.
It is. It is. And it's not going to change the price of the house. No.
It's supposed to bring the price of the house
Right.
down,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Why did you ever think that was the thing?
Yeah.
It's not.
I know.
So they're going to pay more because the market is the market.
Right.
We still have a supply and demand issue.
Right.
So house prices are going to remain on the higher side and continue to appreciate,
Exactly.
which buyers are going to have to absorb, and then they're going to have to absorb the realtor commission.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the cost of doing business. We always talk about the realtor's commission. That's what it costs to do business with us. I mean, it's like, do we ever talk about the lawyer's commission?
No,
We never talk about
No.
that, or the doctor's commission.
because it's their hourly rate, it's their
Right.
hourly fee.
Yeah.
Well, but you guys
I would love
also-
to do hourly. I'd make more
We
money.
talked about that last show. I mean, maybe that's not a bad idea.
I know, but people would be going, what?
Well,
Just like they do with the lawyer. Like, wait. You're working in quarter hour? Yes. If you call me, it takes 2 minutes. You're still getting charged 15 minutes.
it's really an interesting thought process when it comes to people and their understanding of how certain industries get paid. Like, it drives me nuts when people say, I don't need to tip my server 20, 30%. The restaurant should just pay them more. No, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
They get paid a couple dollars an hour.
Uh-huh.
That's the way it works. You tip based on service, and therefore they have to provide you
Yeah.
good service, friendly service, efficient service.
Right.
Like, you have to step it up, and you have to show your value. Well, it's not the same, but it's similar for
Right.
real estate agents. You don't get paid a salary by your broker.
Correct.
You're independent contractors,
Correct.
and you have to prove your worth
Right.
to your clients, and therefore you get paid for it. But
Yes.
yeah, don't mistake. There's time, there's advertising, there's marketing, there's how many things
Yeah.
that you guys spend money on.
The thing that I'm going to throw in here also is that don't judge a realtor by how many transactions they do.
No.
Now, with one caveat.
Well, yeah.
If they're doing 1 or 2 transactions a year, be leery. Now, they may just be getting started, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what they're saying, and if you feel comfortable with it, run with it for a while. But if you have some realtor coming in and you're interviewing real estate agents, and they're saying to you, well, we did 300 transactions last year. Or,
We? Who's we?
Well, that's their team.
Right.
And that doesn't really make them a better realtor. That doesn't make
It
them.
could. It doesn't mean it does.
Right, exactly. It's not the only thing that makes a agent stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Give me other things about what you did, other than how many houses you sold.
How did you sell them? What are your
Right,
strategies?
exactly.
What do you do for your clients that's
Right.
different from
Right.
maybe 3 other agents that
Yeah.
I'm going to interview today?
Right.
I don't know. What do you say about if that is still the average, and I don't know if it is, but it has been the average for realtors if they close basically 4 deals a year,
Yeah.
1 per quarter.
Yeah.
Is that still accurate?
I think what they're saying 4. Well, last year I think it went up to like 7 because of all you had to do is have a house, go get a buyer, go sell a house, But now the market's changing, and so 4 to 7 houses a year.
But so what if it is an average agent, let's say then, that sells, I don't know, 6 a year?
Well, okay.
Would you look at them differently, even though they're considered an average?
Well, here, let me ask you this question back. What if the agent is selling $400,000 homes?
Versus 7,
$1
8.
million
Yeah.
homes.
More bang for your buck.
Yeah.
So who's better? Who has more experience?
It depends.
Who has more expertise?
It depends. So it's just the key of interviewing the agents, I think.
And do you want to ask if there's markets they specialize in?
Right.
Like, are you a luxury home
There you
buyer?
go.
Are you a first time?
There you go.
Do you do it all?
Yep.
Show me your expertise in helping me in my situation.
Yeah. I do a lot of divorce, and so specializing in divorce is really important.
Yeah.
And it's the communication side of it. One of it is that I will communicate with both parties equally, and I will not interfere in any way in the divorce process.
This is if you're selling a
If
home.
I'm selling their home,
Yeah,
I will communicate with you equally. The only time I will not communicate equally is if one of you is doing something outside of this transaction. Let's say you're going to go buy a house. That is none of the business of the other party.
Yeah.
So
makes sense.
the key is communication and keeping everything straight.
You share your responsibilities and ethics.
Absolutely, and that's so important. But I want to talk about a little bit about listing agents. I did some stuff here.
You did some stuff?
I did some stuff, man.
Okay.
I was doing some stuff. So I want to talk about the listing agents and things about this new market and why it's so important, and things for you to be aware of as a consumer on this.
New market as of a month from now?
As of August 17th. Now, good agents are already transitioning into that, and I have 3 listings coming up this week where I'm already converting it to the new stuff. Unfortunately, our documents haven't caught up with the process.
When will that be?
It's supposed to be July 1st was the optional period of time for new documents to be used.
Optional.
And then August 17th is the drop dead gotta use them date.
Okay.
But
so people will be falling in line.
Yeah, but the forms companies are behind and they can't get caught up on it. So here's what I want you to know about an agent. If you're interviewing somebody right now to sell your house, this is what you need to know about it. I believe that they need to have good skills in communicating, negotiating, and understanding how to properly value a property, and also know the hyper-local market and the process that we're about to follow in this. I think they need to understand this new system and be able to explain how it works very, very openly, very easily. Because, a good real estate agent, I think, Laura, takes away the stress of selling a home.
As best they can.
Sure,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
They need to explain how buyers are going to have to sign a buyer representation agreement before they even see a property. They're also going to, and the agent and the buyer and the buyer's agent are going to be the ones who are going to decide what fee the buyer is going to pay for those services. In other words, the realtor that's working with the buyer is going to go into a contract, and they're going to agree on an amount of money, a percentage, something like that they're willing to pay for them to represent that. So the seller needs to know that. You really need to know it. This is very important because there's a fee in there or a percentage. There's going to be a cost for the buyer that's out there. And knowing that is going to help you in your decision making with pricing your home. You don't need to. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it, I think. Because if you know what the buyers are going through, you're going to price your house and have the strategy correct when you're going to sell your house, right? So you don't need to commit to any kind of number the day you do your listing, but you, the seller, should be prepared and understand that it's very likely the buyer is going to ask you, the seller, to help the buyer get his fees and other closing costs financed in the transaction, right? Mm-hmm. I took this from Inman, our rags, their rag that we have, the magazine. Actually, it's just digital. But also, the buyer gets his buyer broker fee financed in a transaction as part of the loan. Is he puts it into the transaction and it becomes part of the purchase price, just like Laura said. Now, what does that mean? So let's look at this, all right? So let's compare. Let's say we compare comps in the area, and let's say they're all $500,000. Okay. Realize this though, okay? If you know all those comps are at $500,000, which means they sold basically at $500,000. Realize this: that the seller did not take home $500,000. They got $500,000 minus what the seller participated in paying towards helping, paying their closing costs, paying their real estate agent, all that. So it was not exactly $500,000, right? Mm-hmm. You with me so far?
Yep.
Okay, because I'm getting confused. So they got basically minus $500,000 plus what they paid towards helping the buyer to buy the house. That's the commission. That's correct. So the question is, if you know that all those houses are selling at $500,000 minus your closing costs in that, should you market that house at $500,000 in this new circumstances? I don't know. You really have to look at this. I think you do.
Wow.
Well, especially after you look at the comps, and if they include some kind of request where there's a concession, I mean, you've got to be kind of smart in this. So part of it would be that maybe I offer a value of the house of $475 or $485, and then when buyers come in, say, sure, we're happy to support your concession, but we'll need to add that to the price of the house. Or if an agent says to me, we're going to write an offer, and there are concessions, they want to know if the seller will consider concessions, we will say, sure, we'll be more than happy to take your highest and best offers in addition to your cost of concessions.
And how is that going to impact appraisals if people need financing?
Well, there you have it. Boy, you know what's so great about you and I?
On the same page.
We all the time, man, all the time. So what Laura just said is so important, and you got to remember this, is that it's that appraisal that'll sometimes get in the way. And then you get negotiations at appraisal. So,
well, I mean, it's just crazy. And I've said before, appraisals, and I think you agree with me on this, they're worth the paper they're printed on. Like, they're so subjective, and it's kind of like interest rates, depending on what's going in the market. Do the rates change every day? Not necessarily. It depends. Right. But like if there's different sales, comparable sales that sold, and the appraiser has access to the multiple listing service. So if they go in and see, the next day or whatever, it's the appraisal is based on the data that's available at the time that it's done.
Yeah.
But
not just solds, by the way.
No, they can use
actives.
On the market actives, yes. Especially if we're in a market that's trending up or down. I think it's really important to show homes that are on the market,
right,
so that we can see trends going on, or they can. But it's like, I don't know, it feels like it's smoke and mirrors in a way. Like, here's what it would appraise out at, but now we have to add on how many thousands in commission, and can I make the numbers fit? How do I do that? What adjustments do I have to make to get to that added commission number on top of?
Right. Well, here's the thing for me as a listing agent is that, and I do work with buyers, but primarily my focus has always been listings from day one on it, is that my conversation with my sellers now is about what I do.
Mm-hmm.
It's my value
Has to be.
proposition. It's
Yeah.
everything I'm going to bring up to the table to sell their property and the commission involved with that. Period.
And it really always should have been.
It
It
should
never
have been.
should have been anything different than that. But,
Right. But
do
you
you
know-
use something for sellers? A net sheet?
I
Is
use
that
a-
what it's called?
Well, net sheet is the use a net sheet.
I feel like a lot of realtors don't use that though, because
Well, they're lazy,
I wonder. Because I'm talking to
or they're not
people.
knowledgeable,
They're what?
or they're not knowledgeable about what a net sheet
Why
is.
aren't they though?
Because they haven't been trained that way.
How are you a listing agent and you don't use a net sheet? In my opinion,
In the last
because
few years?
huh?
In the last few years? No,
I suppose.
didn't matter.
Okay, but a seller still needed to know what, and a net sheet is
Sure.
like, it helps the seller determine what they're going to net from the
Correct.
sale of the home, right?
Yes,
So,
it's the sale price
Mhm.
minus all the costs associated with the transfer of the house to the buyer.
yeah, and
then you get your
commission
net
factors
number.
into that.
Yes.
So, especially now, I would think,
Uh-huh.
do you agree that it's more important than ever to have those tools in your toolkit
Absolutely.
so you can be better prepared to advise your sellers?
Every day.
But I don't find that.
Every day.
I find myself doing that, so like as a lender, if you're a good lender too, and you're trying to help people, okay, you're going to sell your house, how much money will you have
Uh-huh.
to put down? People are clueless. They do not know.
Sure.
Okay, here's your sales price. How much are you going to pay your realtor? What?
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, well, you need to figure that out. Here's average closing costs. Here's what you owe, your current mortgages, your current liens.
Yeah.
I do that a lot for people,
Sure.
but I'm like, is that my job or is that, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the realtor's job as a good listing agent to help them navigate, because I don't know what the commission is
Right.
yet.
Right.
I don't know what a fair price is
Right.
yet. I can determine mortgages, but
Sure.
anyway.
The only time they actually, a lot of people see a net sheet at closing, and it's called a HUD.
I know, but that's wrong. They
It's
need
wrong.
to
It needs
know
to be before.
at listing
Absolutely.
contract.
Absolutely. So now what's going to happen, folks, is that you're going to have a realtor that's going to have to share their expertise in what they do and how they get it done for you. And don't let it be quality service,
Communication,
quality,
I mean,
quality service or price.
quality, service, or price.
Yeah, take that out of
Quality
it. Quality
and service?
Quality. Well, so what I say is, tell me what makes you different than everybody else, but don't use the words quality, service, or
No,
price.
I've heard you say that.
Yeah. And most people
Because
can't do
everybody
it.
says that.
Well, it's a trick, and the reason it's a trick, it's a test, is that a good oh my gosh, creative, visionary kind of realtor will look outside of the box
Visionary.
and describe everything without using those words. Because they heard exactly what their client just said, and they responded. See what I'm saying? Others will go
Listening,
listening,
being
right?
proactive.
Absolutely.
Proactive, I think,
Right.
is a huge, huge
Absolutely.
thing, especially as a buyer's
Yeah.
agent.
Yeah.
Actually, being proactive for your buyer.
So the other part of my conversation with my seller is to say to them, the buyer agents, the buyers are working with a real estate agent, and they have a cost in here. Now, right now, look at the number of houses. 53 houses on the market, 40 new existing houses in there. Which one's going to sell next? And if we looked at the absorption charts in here, if we looked at the, where was it? I wanted to look at. Okay, in the 450 to 499, there were 11 houses that are currently on the market in Sun Prairie. All right, 5.75 houses. Let's make it 6 houses are going to sell in this month.
I don't want to buy 3/4 of a house.
Okay, don't do that.
I'm not interested.
That's called a lanai, and then just an overhang, I guess. But seriously, if there's 11 houses, there are 6 that are sold every month. How am I going to get your house sold next? Right? Because if 6
Well-
are sold, 5 aren't sold.
And what you said though in there that I don't know if people are picking up on is, do you know your numbers?
Oh,
Does your
yeah.
realtor know their numbers?
Oh yeah.
Do they know how many are on the market
Yeah.
and where yours falls in
Yeah.
what's on the market right now?
Yeah.
So what is your strategy? Do you even know what you're talking about?
Me? You're asking me, or
No, I'm
in
saying
general?
as a seller,
Exactly.
realtor, do you even know what you're talking
Right.
about? Do you know how to price my home and what's
Right.
it based on?
Exactly. So this is so important. I mean, I'm looking at what's called an absorption chart. We talked about this last week. It shows me how many homes are sold on average in a pricing category in a given month, and how long it would take me to sell their houses overall, based upon 12 months of solds and current actives.
It didn't dawn on me until you said that last week that you really haven't talked about absorption
We
rates.
haven't had to.
And you did every single show. For how long?
I know.
And I was like, wow,
Oh,
that
wow.
shows you the shifts in the market that he's talking about absorption rates
Well,
again.
yeah. I mean, 1 is a strong buyer's market. 10 is a strong. No, reverse that. 1 is a strong seller's market. 10 is a strong buyer's market. 5 is in the middle.
Balanced,
It's
yeah.
a balanced, kind of neutral kind of market. In there.
Yeah.
Well, if we right now we're flirting with these numbers. If you're in a $700,000 house, you're in a neutral market, which could be a buyer's market.
Mm.
But if I'm in a $700,000 house in this new system that's coming up, and I am being relocated to Tupelo, Mississippi, and I want to get my house sold fast, what am I going to do? Well, I may have to offer concessions to the buyer,
Yeah.
and that's how you get your house sold.
Mm-hmm.
But also pricing it
Strategies.
correctly.
Yes.
Also pricing it correctly.
Yes.
We got about 8 minutes to go here. I want to touch on this for buyers, because buyers are out there sitting there, well, what the hell are we going to do? Well, let me tell you about
You're
that.
going to win the lotto.
If hopefully you do. If you're really, so there's the choices. If you're working with a very talented buyer agent and buyer brokerage, they're going to give you the different options. The first option is I'm going to call the seller to see if they are offering concessions. And if they don't have that, then my second choice will be I will submit the request for concessions to cover my cost in the offer to purchase. The third part is that you pay the concession. Or we write the offer and say that we'll inflate the price of the house, increase the price of the house to cover the
I was going to say, I don't think inflate is a good word to
well,
use
we
these
have
days.
to. We have to.
You know
Increase,
somebody
adjust.
will find a...
We're going to adjust that. And then the last one is maybe you
Embellish.
pay those rates. So in a good buyer agency agreement, those are the 4 steps involved. I will put in every one of my buyer agency agreements because it's showing you I am intentionally trying to get your costs covered in concessions.
But proactive, right?
Proactive.
You always should have been
Proactive.
calling the listing agent
Absolutely.
and saying, tell me what your seller's
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
I need to protect my buyer.
Exactly.
So, but I don't know that happens
No.
a lot.
No. But here's the thing, and I want to show you how this is screwing up the industry. One, first of all, it's putting an added cost onto the buyer. We had a system that was working very well. We had a few people out there that got greedy, and now they're getting $22 or $78 each for
Class
their
action.
lawsuit.
Yeah. Mhm.
How about 1.5 billion, and I think each of the people suing gets like $78.
Well, then they should take it and go buy lotto tickets with
No,
it.
you know what they
That's really-
did? They asked the judge to reconsider the amount so they can get more.
Ugh.
They did. They did.
Okay.
Now I forgot where I'm going to go on this.
We were talking about what you would suggest the 4 steps, did you say, doing for buyers?
Well, doing those 4 steps, you need to have those in place as a good buyer agent. Oh, I know what I was going to tell you. So let's say that you are looking for a home, and we identify, let's say 10 homes that we're going to go look at. But you've instructed me, Bill, if they're not offering seller concessions, I don't want to see the house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mhm.
So now I have to call all 10 of those homes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say it takes 3 minutes a call, and they pick up as soon as I call. That's 30 minutes in a day just for you. Now, if I do that 5 more times in a day,
What's your hourly rate again?
right, exactly. So what I'm saying is my costs are going to go through the roof
Right.
because it's going to the efficiency that I was running my business is now going to be adjusted, and we have to make up those things. But
And people don't really expect others to perform services for them at a high level,
For free?
especially at a professional level, for free. Do you really?
I
Do
don't
people
know.
really think that?
well, I'm going to say,
Because would you work for free?
Well,
Put
I'm-
yourself in that position.
well, let's be honest about this. You don't need to work with an agent. You don't have to work with an agent
No.
to go buy a house. You could go to the listing agent and buy a house. Let them write the offer for you.
I can also fix the electrical in my house, maybe, if I survive.
Or do open heart surgery, one or the other.
Sure.
But
I could do anything because there's a YouTube video
Right,
for
exactly.
everything.
the thing I'm going to say to you about this is you can do that, and it's okay. No judgment. But it's the biggest investment in your life. Why would you try to do something you know nothing about? Or you use that, that cousin on your brother's uncle's side of the family
Who used to sell real
who
estate
used to sell real estate that's
60
gonna
years
give you
ago.
advice you. Or you have
Yeah.
a parent that goes, I know how many houses I bought, I know exactly how to
Oh,
do
yeah.
this.
Yeah. No.
Wow.
If you bought, even 10 years ago,
10 years
you're
ago.
in a different
Oh.
world. You're in a different market.
3 years
3
ago.
years ago.
3 years ago.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go forward, pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID,
Different land
completely
we're living
different
in.
world.
Yeah.
So don't use a professional to do this. It's going to take a little bit of stress, but that's okay. It's good stress. You're going to get a better value.
It's good stress.
Well, yeah,
That's the
because
thing.
they're going to look at a property, just like I did up in Columbus for a client of ours. Up in Columbus,
The water?
I said, don't buy that house. Oh, I'll pay anything on this. How high should I go on this offer? I said, do not go any higher than 10,000 over this asking. I said, you're in a floodplain, and this house is going to flood again, and you're not going to like it.
And we had crazy rains.
And we had crazy rains, and I convinced them not to go 40,000 over.
40,000.
Well, first of all, how are they going to pay for that?
Well,
But look at what happened. Heavy rains. That entire street flooded. The
Mhm.
entire basement of that house was flooded. Now, the seller has to correct that. They have to fix that before closing, and they will.
but for a buyer, they need to know these things so
Yeah.
that they can check into costs
Exactly.
for them. Because you have to buy your homeowner's insurance, but if you're in a flood zone, you also have to buy flood insurance. And it could be reasonable or it could be really, really costly if you're in a high-level floodplain. So these are the things that you need to be talking about as a professional, advising your clients on.
Right, exactly. That's why you need a professional. You've got to have that expert that's going to be here in your process.
And there just truly are things that people don't know about what goes on behind the scenes. We talk about the duck on the water a lot, the analogy. We're supposed to be the duck on top of the water for you, for your benefit, to try to make it as stress-free as possible. But don't kid yourselves. Below the water, we're doing a zillion things for you that you don't even realize we're doing. Because we don't involve you in those things, but they still have to get done.
Right.
You don't want to do all those things. You don't even know what they are that we're doing for you.
Right, exactly. So use a professional, and I hate ads. When you're,
It's how things are free. Supposedly.
I know. I'm trying to do a video, our music, and it just won't come up.
It'll come.
I know. Well, Sunbury, I hope that you're slowly getting a grasp of the changes that are going to be made in real estate, and that how important it is for you to have a little bit of knowledge in it, but more importantly, how important it is to actually work with a professional that understands it. And I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of people do not understand it at all.
It's new.
No.
So you hope that if they're part of a brokerage, they're being taught how to navigate and manage these things, and forms are being drafted and updated, but not everybody has that team environment around them,
Right.
or even the willingness to be a better professional and learn.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. We, like we said, 9 years, our 9th year of doing this, and it's all because of input that you have given us, and we really appreciate it. So when you see Laura and I out and about, don't be afraid to approach us, talk to us, and give us ideas or insights that we can do to help you and bring it to the attention of others that are trying to buy and sell or invest in real estate. And so until next time, we will catch you right back here on the radio next Wednesday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Until then, bye, Sun Prairie.
Bye, Sun Prairie.